What is going on, everybody? My name is Ciara Lawler. Welcome back to another week of Movie Mondays. This is the Heroes for Hire podcast. We are back again talking all the week's movie news, entertainment news, and just generally having a bit of a chit chat. We're not doing any of that this week, Shaun. It's a big week, okay?
What we did there, we laid a rug underneath the audience, and then we pulled that rug from under you.
Like if we gave you a planet and then pulled said metaphorical rug. Shaun, sorry, just to let everyone know, I'm joined as always by my partner in crime, Mr. Shaun Meehan.
That's fair. Of House Meehan.
Of House Meehan. I've been there, lovely spot. Decor needs some work. So if
we had just moved in and then the pandemic hit, okay?
So this is Movie Mondays, and it's a very special spoiler-filled review episode of a movie review, Shaun. We're not talking any movie news this week. It's movie news free. We get to go all in for, I don't know how long this episode's going to be.
As long as it needs to be, Connor.
As long as it needs to be. And this week, we are going to be reviewing Dune.
Yes. Dune.
Thank you.
Dune.
A movie that has been in the works for many years. And for a lot of those years, everyone's kind of like, what the fuck is this going to be about? Obviously, there was the books many years ago. There was even a movie in 1984, Shaun, everyone loves and enjoys.
David Lynch's perfection, that is June 1984. He didn't read the books before he made it.
He turned down Star Wars and said he was going to make that.
That might actually make the Patreon hat at some point, is that Dune
Don't
movie.
Make me do that.
Oh, I'm going to make you do it. I watch Mighty Ducks, I watch Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I am owed something.
I watch National Treasure. So,
yeah, you're welcome.
World. So, Shaun, how our spoiler reviews normally work, for if this is your first episode, is we normally just kind of go, not scene by scene, but in a general, we go in a sequence of the film itself, because we could just pick random scenes, but it's easier in context if we just go, this builds to this kind of thing.
That's the thing, and I feel like the context talk helps us to even, you remember more of how you felt watching it, I think, that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I think that's really important for a movie, is how did it make you feel while you watched it?
And so that is going to be my opening question, Shaun, but a bit of context. You have, of course, read the books.
5 books deep at the minute.
That's pretty big. I have not read any of the books. So we are two different ends of the spectrum coming into this film. And I think that's important because, I mean, you're going to have people that have read the books and you're going to have people that don't know anything about this world other than their friend kind of giving them a run through, like you do to me. Go, there's this spice, it's on this planet, they're going there, there's a whole family, there you go, off you go yourself.
Exactly. And like I it's very important for this movie as well. And look, it did recently get confirmed for a sequel, which I'm delighted about. But I think a lot of this movie, it's a balance between like pleasing people who have read the books and having like a broad appeal. Like that's, and that's a tough fucking line to walk.
Especially for something like this. Because I've seen so many people be like, oh, this is highbrow. Like this is, I even read like, this is Star Wars for adults. And I'm like, I think Star Wars is for everyone. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But I do feel like this has a harder line to go along. Because as much as it is similar in terms of Star Wars, there's a chosen one, he's got some powers, the whole thing revolves around him, he even has a powerful voice that he uses to convince people to do stuff. The whole thing is there, right?
And this can we also just say, by the way,
Wars.
Yes. Dune came far before Star Wars existed.
This is the inspiration for Star Wars, and the more I watched it, the more I was like, obviously, George, yes. That's what you do, George. But I think this has a harder line because, and this is breaking it down to be a very simple level, nobody's got glow-up swords. So harder to get the casuals in when there's not flippy swords going on.
No, like the most like high-tech fighting thing that they have is shields in this movie.
And nobody likes shields. Nobody's like, I'm coming to the fight scene for shields. I want to see a cool dude with a glow-up sword go around chopping people up.
But can I just say, and this might, set the expectations for the rest of my review. I like this first part of this Dune movie franchise more than any Star Wars movie I've ever seen.
Oh fuck. That is...
I said it.
And you notoriously hate Star Wars. You've told me that.
I like 50% of the movies. I think we worked that out at one point.
If we work out by numbers, yeah. Like, look, I think the two of us very much like Star Wars. You're a big Revan fan. That's how I know you like Star Wars. But I'm coming into this not knowing anything. So you coming into it, I'm assuming you liked it.
Loved it. Really liked this movie.
I think this is a masterpiece, Shaun. I think this is unreal.
Yes! Yes, we did it. We did it, ladies and gentlemen. We brought him in.
But here's the thing. I don't think it's even a masterpiece because of the movie itself. I was just so impressed that they fucking pulled it off.
Yeah.
That's what blew my mind the most, because I went and seen it and I was coming out and I was just kind of like, that was really good. Like, I really enjoyed it. And then every day since, in my head, I just kept being like, how did they do that? How did they pull off this? Because, not to go Doctor Strange on this, but there's 6 million versions of this future that this movie's terrible.
Oh, yeah.
And this is the one.
Down. If any of those elements that we've seen didn't work, this movie is trash.
9 times out of 10, this movie is so boring, nobody wants to watch it. It's so full of exposition. Nobody wants to trudge through it except for the lads who love the books. And this is perfect. But the more I was just taking, like, how did you make this? Like, how did you get the exposition across, but not so much that you drag the movie down? But there's also action, but it's also a part 1 that leads to a part 2. You're setting all of this up and making us like all of these characters played by all these amazing, like, massive movie stars who all get their... Like, you're not thinking, God, they didn't get enough screen time. Everybody gets screen time. Everybody has an idea. Everybody has a point or a role in the story. And it still, through all that story and introducing all of this intricate, like, world building stuff, it flew by. And I don't know how. Because...
Like, this film is close to 3 hours long, but it did not feel it for me.
No, it's maddening.
One of the reasons I think that it works, and it now, I'm not comparing this to 1998's Blade, it's just because we talked about it recently.
What a reference, go on.
I know, I guarantee you we're the only podcast to compare Dune to Blade 1998.
Here we go, Blade, right.
It's a fully fleshed out world and they just drop you into it. And
yeah, actually, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, that, like, things are just said in conversation between characters. They do a really good exposition thing that actually translates really well to the books, in that when Paul is learning about Arrakis, he has a video encyclopedia.
Makes sense.
Because he has never been to that planet. He needs to learn about it. So, like, as our protagonist learns, we learn. Which is...
Yeah, and I think a lot of that comes down to the screenplay of adapting the books to that. Dennis Villeneuve, I'm going to mispronounce his name, please.
It's Denis Villeneuve.
Denis Villeneuve. He, of course, was on the screenplay, but most importantly, they had Eric Roth doing the screenplay. Now, Eric Roth is a 5-time Oscar-nominated screenplay.
Is he?
He won it for Forrest Gump, but he's done A Star Is Born. From the top of my head, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, A Star Is Born, Forrest Gump. I can't remember the other 2, but he's a 5-time nominated Oscar nominee for screenplays. And so him and you have Denis Villeneuve, they're working on this, and I can't remember the third person's name, but the idea of getting that book onto this screen is, like, so hard, and they pulled it off.
There's, like, for so long, Dune was considered an unfilmable movie.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, the more you told me about it, the more this is going to hurt people's feelings. This is going to be shit.
Yeah.
This is going to be so boring.
Like, and by all accounts, it should be. And if you go by if you're coming in and, like, this is the first, like, kind of realistic sci-fi thing that you've ever read, then like the first 50 pages are fucking nonsense. Yeah. And if you just get that far and stop, you would be forgiven for thinking, oh, this movie's going to be dreadful. But
the vibe I got, the vibe I got was the Fellowship of the Ring. In that watching it, you're like, holy shit, they're doing it.
Yeah.
How are they doing this?
I had so many of those moments watching this movie. Because a lot of this script, a lot of this stuff is ripped directly from the book.
Yeah.
And there's no compromises made. Like the thing with the sand crawler in the desert, where they're harvesting spice, that all plays out pretty much exactly like the book.
And before we're going to get into the movie now, because we've just been
gushing over it.
The thing I felt, and I think this is probably, you've heard this a million times, is this to me feels like the first half of season 1 of Game of Thrones, but Star Wars version.
Yeah.
And if anyone's ever seen the first half of Game of Thrones, or the first season, it's pretty good. And you're thinking,
really good.
I'd like to watch episode 6, 7, 8 and 9 and 10. I think this is going to go well. And so I was watching it going, everybody's talking. Everyone's talking about things that I have no idea, but I'm like trying to keep up. I'm trying to like get all the family names. I'm trying to get all this. And I'm so interested in just people talking. And I shouldn't be. But I'm like, and look, Denis Villeneuve, he did Sicario, which is fucking outstanding.
Unreal.
That regard,
that's a masterpiece on its own.
And it's just the idea of like, you're getting all this information, but I'm hanging on every word. Like,
yeah, you're not just letting it gush over you, like.
Yeah, I'm like, what's going on? What did he say? Okay, so he's talking about them, but who's he talking? But that's double meaning, because he means this. And then you're just kind of like trying to keep up. And that's the feeling I got watching Game of Thrones when you first watch it. Like, obviously, we're not going to talk about the last season, but like seasons 1 to 4, where everybody's talking, and it should be boring, but it's so interesting because it's so intrinsically like just involved with everything else.
Like. You would love the books, like even on audiobook, you would adore them.
Can't read.
That's the thing. Audiobook. Look, we're not sponsored,
Can't
but
hear.
Hey, there's a service I could recommend to you. But like within the books, there is such little focus on battle and large scale set pieces in the books. It's a lot of characters talking. It's a lot of characters' internal thoughts about how they are viewing this situation. And I did not think... The way they did it in David Lynch's Dune 1984 was that they literally had voiceover while the characters looked pensively into the camera. But this... Not great, but I think they really trusted the actors on this, and that, yeah, they're having conversations, but there's a lot of face acting going on in this movie.
Yeah, and I think the easy way out would have just been battles. And there is battles. That's not to say there isn't battles. It would have been really easy just to do a load of action scenes and have a bit of talk on either side. I'd just be like, it's grand. Whereas we have a majority talking, and then you have battles sprinkled around.
And that's the thing, and that's one good thing about like the translation to film, is that you can explore more of those battles, because the battles do happen. They're just not the main focus of the books. But like film, very visual medium, you need a trailer, you need to sell it to a wider audience. A battle's a very good way to do that. Okay,
Shaun, I think we need to get into this, because I feel like we could just gush.
I'm fucking in love with this movie.
I don't think we've actually spoiled anything, though.
You what?
We haven't spoiled anything, I don't think.
Not so far, no.
No. But, okay, let's start off. We start off with a bit of Zendaya doing a bit of narration. She's telling us about the planet and the fact that you've got these people, they turn up, they take all the spice, then they fuck off. They take all the riches.
Can you guess the metaphor, by any chance?
I can't. Go on, please.
It's basically about US foreign policy. Whole bunch of eugenic stuff mixed in there as well.
Let's not get into it.
Let's not get into it too far. Can I just say, and I might pepper in some like Dune facts. These are not necessarily in the books. They're just like they're told in fucking Wikipedia articles and stuff like that. But the premise of this world is that like I think it's like 10,000 years in the future from, say,
it's 10191.
That's it. Yeah. So it's about 10 millennia here from where we are, roughly. Human race has spread across the galaxy and the universe, and the main human kind of society or like history that has survived is Arabic culture. So there's a lot of like Arabic language and stuff mixed into just general speech among people, which also lends to the whole US foreign policy metaphor.
Right, okay. And very early on, by the way, I must say, cinematography is
gorgeous.
Out of this world, literally and metaphorically.
Good.
But it's one of the prettiest films you'll ever see.
You can pause this film at any point and you get like a picture you could hang on your wall.
Because they
basically
went to these places. They went to the United Arab Emirates. They went to Norway to film
the Caladan stuff.
Yeah, and it's just once you're there, it's not a green screen. You know how much you don't even realise how much green screen we always watch every film until they're just there. You're like, oh, that looks way better now.
Until you see Timothée Chalamet dip his hand in a pool of water and you're like, oh shit.
And do you want to know a very interesting fact that I have about the fact that the things they use for the green screen in terms of once they get there onto the planet?
Yeah.
They used brown green screens, not green green screens.
Interesting.
So then it's easier to put things on.
To key anything to that.
So it's not as harsh. And so it's much more seamless in how it fits in.
That's actually brilliant. The very quickly as well, the cinematographer on this, Greg Fraser, he also worked on Rogue One, which I would argue is one of the best looking Star Wars movies.
Pretty film as well.
Pretty film. Worked on Vice, and he also worked on The Mandalorian.
Makes sense. I mean, he
pretty
just loves
good.
deserts. He's a big desert boy.
Zero Dark 30 as well, actually.
Yeah. And look, just the last thing we'll say about the crew. Hans Zimmer's on the score. That's all we need to say.
Oh, and it's
unreal.
It's
class.
It's so good. It's so good.
So we get introduced to Arrakis. We see that it's full of spice. All these people are out there. The Harkonnens. They're originally on that planet. They've been there for thousands of years, and they're basically the richest people in the whole galaxy. Because they have the spice.
Exactly. The Harkonnens are like assigned by the Emperor to guard the spice and produce spice and send it out to the Imperium because it's the most important thing in the universe.
And here's the thing. The very first, within 3 minutes, we get told Harkonnens have been sent away.
Yeah.
And they are no longer on the planet. And so you have all this riches there, and they've chosen. They thought Oscar Isaac was the man. You are the guy to come in and take over.
I would trust him. He's a nice, friendly man.
It's Atreides. Is that the pronunciation?
The Atreides, yeah.
Yeah. And so that family has been chosen to replace the Harkonnens and be like, right, you're the people coming in, you're going to look after the spice because the Emperor loves you, we're all big fans of you, you're doing real well in terms of PR and reputation. People love you, and the Emperor loves the fact that people loves you. So you get in there.
Well, see, and the Atreides are genuinely pretty well liked because they're like the nicest fucking noble house.
They have Oscar Isaac as the lead, and he's the nicest man in the whole world.
There's such a subtle way that they show up how they're like not up their own arses because there's this big ceremony going on where they hand over basically the keys to Arrakis and the keys
to the kingdom.
Yeah, keys to the kingdom, and like Oscar Isaac is just standing there being like, how much money did this ceremony cost?
Yeah, I think he asked, how much did it cost them to come here? Like, what was the point? We could have just done this by email.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. They can't have email.
No technology. Just no technology. Sorry,
no technology
Shaun,
at all. There was a big cull of all technology and AI.
Oh, let's not get into it.
We won't get into it.
We're going off the
movie. But it just shows like he's not about pomp and ceremony. He just wants to like do his job well. That's been passed down in his family since like fucking Roman times.
And we also have, and I'm not gonna do this well, Shaun. We have a witch. She's there.
A Bene Gesserit.
A Bene Gesserit. Okay, Reverend Mother. I think she's. And she's the Emperor's truth-sayer?
Yeah, so the Bene Gesserit they're like nuns, but they also have like fingers in every aspect of politics.
And they're also magic.
They're also... Yeah, basically.
Are they witch nuns?
They're witch nuns. Yeah, they're witch nuns.
Okay, now we've broken it down in languages I can understand.
So they are basically... The truth-sayer thing is that the Emperor would have a Bene Gesserit sister who basically lets the Emperor know if they're lying to him, because they can see what your actions will do.
Yeah, and she's there, and she's making eye contact with Lady Jessica, played by Rebecca Ferguson. She's quite good at acting, you might be surprised to know.
Yeah, pretty good, I would say.
Just the cast, oh God, we haven't even started.
We'll come to them all in turn, I'm sure.
We haven't got to the tip of the surface, for fuck's sake. But yeah, Rebecca Ferguson's there, she's kind of giving her eyes they're kind of staring at each other. There's only a brief moment, and then the planet gets handed over. They're just like, you're the leaders now. Everyone loves you. Once again, Emperor, big fan of the fact that you're so popular. I really cannot say that enough. Big fan. And so then it comes up to Duncan, Idaho, played by Jason Momoa, the most charismatic man in the world.
Yeah. And do you fall in love with Duncan Idaho immediately?
Almost immediately. But I think Momoa just has that, though. I don't know if that's Duncan.
Yeah, like Aquaman is a fairly middling film, but God... He's great in it.
He walks off the ship and he's like, oh, something's wrong. And one of the guys is like, oh yeah, I'll fix that. And he goes, oh, thanks, man. And I was just like, yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, you thank that man.
he's a nice guy. And so Momoa's there, and Timothée Chalamet, who we haven't actually spoken about yet.
No, very small part in this movie, Timothée Chalamet.
By the way, before the ceremony, he had a breakfast with his mother, and you see that like he's practicing to use the voice.
Yes.
Which... She's very good at, because of course she's a witch nun, but she's married to Oscar Isaac, and he basically has the power, but we later find out that he's the first boy to ever have that power. It's always a girl or a daughter, and so he's the first son.
So the Bene Gesserit can actually control the gender of they can manipulate their own cells through the spice. And so she chose, because she loved Oscar Isaac so much, she gave him a son. Yeah, but the sisterhood wanted a daughter.
And he's still practicing the voice, and so like there's a moment where he's like, give me the water, and she like half gives it. She's like, oh, it's nearly, you're almost there, but you're still learning. So you kind of get implied straight away, he's got the force, Shaun.
Exactly, and here is one of his obstacles to overcome in terms of story.
It's a hero's journey.
It's a hero's journey. It's a classic hero's journey, but it works so well.
It's a chosen one hero's journey.
Oh, you better believe he's a chosen one.
I love a good chosen one hero's journey. And so, yeah, him and Momoa, immediately you get the sense that it's like a big brother, little brother situation, that Momoa is like the head soldier. He's like the head guy.
Yeah.
And Chalamet and him just have this really good connection that it's like, I've seen you grow up, I've been here since like you were like 2, like, you know, we're like good pals, because he's like, can I tell you something? He's like, oh yeah, of course, man, what do you want to know? Like,
and it's not like a father-son, it's more of like an older brother kind of relationship.
It's like really not formal, and that immediately makes you like them more, because he's like, oh, are you heading out tomorrow? You're like in the advanced troops. You're heading out to Arrakis tomorrow.
He's trying to connect with the Fremen.
Yeah, and Duncan's like, yeah, I'm heading out tomorrow. He's like, I want to go with you. And he's like, oh, do you? And you're just like, oh, he's gonna like bow down because it's like the son's or the king's son. And he's just like, no. You're trying to get me court-martialed. That's a fucking ridiculous idea. You're not coming with me, you maniac. And he's like, oh, I'm having dreams. And that's when we have the scene from the trailer where it's like, you gotta stay in reality. That he keeps having these dreams about Zendaya.
And Duncan is like, oh, dreams make good stories, because he had Paul had a dream that Duncan would die on Arrakis.
And he's like, I'm not there.
Yeah, I'm not around, and so you're leaving early. If I'm there, the dream won't come true. And Duncan's like, look, dreams make good stories. but don't fucking dwell on him.
Then he does my favourite movie thing. I'm not gonna die, I promise.
Yeah.
It's like, that guy's dead.
They telegraph really hard that he's not gonna die.
I promise I won't die. And then one of my favourite scenes, we're flying through it, but like the movie kicks into gear once they get to the planet. But it's really you have the scene with Oscar Isaac and Chalamet in the graveyard.
Yeah.
And like, he's the best dad in the whole world. He's the best leader. He's just the best.
And it would have been very easy for this to be a moment of like a dad, fucking Lord of Caladan explaining to his son, the Duke, and explaining to his son, look, this is the way it's got to be. You have to take over in my place. You are going to lead someday. But Oscar Isaac is just like, I wanted to be a pilot when I was younger. Like, look, if you don't want this, you're still my son. Like, I will still love you.
And he's like, we gotta go there. Like, the Emperor's given it to us, so we have to go there. I know you're worried, but we gotta go there. It's just what we have to do. And my favourite bit is like when he holds up the ring. He's like, I wasn't ready for this when I got given it. And you won't probably be ready for it when you get given it, but you'll have to grow into it. Like, leaders just grow into that role. Like, it's not our place to just say, I'm the leader.
The best leader is someone who doesn't seek it out.
Exactly. And so immediately you're just like, I would follow that man into any
to
war.
The grave. That's it.
Also, strong beard game, Oscar.
Excellent beard game. Excellent beard game from Oscar in this. And I also like, this sets up that Oscar Isaac is Duke Leto Atreides is a very good pilot in this movie. That will play in later. He's Poe Dameron. He's just Poe.
He's the best. The best pilot.
And there's also a really lovely moment after that, which is Paul just walking along the water in Caladan and just like touching water in a puddle. And it's like, he will likely never touch water for in that capacity for years and years and years.
And I think he knows that as well.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, he has all these visions, and we later find out that they're not reliable. Not that they're not reliable, but he basically, and I brought him up earlier on, he Doctor Stranges it. Like, he can see 70
possible
million
futures.
Options.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And he has to choose the right one. Well, he doesn't know which one is the right one. It depends on whatever happens later on of what could happen.
Yeah, the way it's kind of put out there is that it's like a web, kind of. And so you're here, and there's like infinite things that spread out from infinite things, basically.
And the thing they do with that later on is fucking great with the leader of the Fremen. It's so good. But yeah, then we have the scene with him and Josh Brolin. And we forgot Josh Brolin was in this. Josh Brolin just sitting here in this cast. You wouldn't even know it. We've got Momoa, we've got Isaac, we've got Ferguson, Chalamet, Zendaya.
He's great in it though. He plays the kind of like he's been a soldier for longer than Duncan Idaho has, and you feel that in him.
And you also, he at this time is the Harkonnens are the most powerful warriors. The Fremens are also, they got desert fucking power. And he's basically just explaining, these boys are going to fuck us up if we're not ready. You have got to be ready, because they're so powerful.
That's the thing. And Gurney's, this might be a thing from the books, that they might use it later, it's not a big deal. Gurney's wife and child were killed by Harkonnens. So he fucking hates them. So plays in well. But I like that, because when Paul... the first thing Gurney says to Paul when he walks into the training room is, don't keep your back to a door. And it's the lesson starts immediately. And
Paul is like, I heard your footsteps, old man.
Yeah, and it's could have been someone mimicking my footsteps. It doesn't matter.
That old man line might come up later on. Anyway, so we've got... now, you know what I mean? We got Brolin. We've got Oscar Isaac, Rebecca Ferguson, Timothée Chalamet, Jason Momoa. You forgot Dave Bautista instead of Skarsgård are sitting on the other side. They're just sitting
casually.
There.
Yeah.
Just cash. And, David Dashmalian, he's there as well. Don't worry about it. So they're just on the back. I was like, this cast is outrageous.
That's ridiculous. But no one's fighting for screen time either. It's really well split.
this scene's good because Batista turns up to the Baron, Stellan Skarsgård, who plays an excellent villain.
He's
just
monstrous in this. He's horrendous.
Yeah, and the fact that Batista's like hamming up the evil, and he's like, you still sense that he's like an underling. Like, Batista should never be an underling if he's in a room being evil. You should be like, that's the most dangerous man in the room. But I was still like, that's Stellan Skarsgård, Baron, fucking hell.
Yeah,
he's
like
the baddest man.
Batista's basically coming in like with his tail between his legs, and like,
he's
and
like,
you know,
the
as
last
well,
ship is left.
Yeah, and you know as well, he like the Rabin is his character. Rabin like doesn't understand the intricacies of everything.
Yeah, and I think that's what's great about this is that like he comes in like, we're after leaving literally the most important planet in the whole world. Why did we agree to do this? Well, we're the richest people in the whole fucking universe. We're the best fighters. We've got the biggest army. Why would we give up the most important thing we have? And like the Baron's like, when is a gift not a gift? When? And so he basically at this point you're not fully sure of what's happening, but like it's just so fun to find out. Like, it's not beaten over the head. It's just like they're after leaving the planet, but it seems like they have it all under control. You're kind of like, well, why do they have it under control? Like, the good guys have the big rich thing? Like,
yeah, this is usually
wrong.
The end of the story.
Yeah. And so then we have Rebecca Ferguson, who he called her Rebecca Ferguson, Lady Jessica. She wakes up Paul in the middle of the night, and she's like, "Come with me, get dressed, come with me." And the doctor looks him over, and it's just like, he's absolutely perfect. Nothing wrong with him. That doctor never going to come up again.
But there's a nice moment between them when...
Yes! And that's what makes like the betrayal later on even better, is the fact that he's like, don't trust her. Like, there's some weird shit going on here. And you immediately get a sense of like him and Momoa, like you get a sense that they've been around each other for years.
Yeah, I think that doctor like actually delivered Paul when he was born.
Okay.
It's like he's known him his whole life, basically.
Yeah. And it's just a moment where like, it's a really interesting dynamic, because in that one scene you have Paul, and what you've done here, like subconsciously but also very literally, is that you've put our trust in the doctor above his own mother, because the doctor's like, she's up to something, don't just watch it. And it's just a really subtle thing, but later on then when the betrayal happens, you're like, we trusted him over his own fucking mother and he still betrayed us, the dickhead.
Yeah, and it hurts, man. It hurts. But like, even he had, like, you can see his reasoning as well, which is totally fucked.
So Paul goes in to see the head witch.
Helen Mohayim.
Helen Mohayim, of course. And the Reverend Mother, Shaun.
The Reverend Mother.
And she's sitting there. And also, Denis Villeneuve did a really great behind the scenes on this.
I saw this. Yeah, it's really good.
And there's a really cool moment where, like, when she uses the voice on Paul to bring him into the room, they cut to like first person, because he was like, I didn't want to show Paul be like a zombie crossing the room. I thought that would look dumb. So they like black it out and they do a first person that he just ends up on his knees in front of her.
And we've established some stuff about the voice already, like, oh, you can make someone pass a glass of water to you. But Paul walks into the room and doesn't want to walk there, and she makes him, and there's no fight in him. Like, he's just bent immediately.
And then he's like, how dare you do that to me?
Yeah.
So like, I like the fact that he's still like, who the fuck are you? Like,
that's it. But like, and that line, how dare you do that to me? Like, he's a duke's son, and there will be no repercussions for her controlling him. Like, and that shows like this sisterhood is way above Paul's pay grade.
Yeah, and this is possibly I think this is the scene where I was like, holy shit, Chalamet's like, I mean I've always thought like he's pretty good. Like, he's pretty decent. He's but in this scene I was like, holy shit, because he does the whole thing where he puts his hand in the box and you feel the most immeasurable amount of pain, and if you pull away, like, your animal instincts would tell you she has a dart beside his neck covered in poison that's going to kill him.
Gom Jabbar, it's called. So it's if you give in to your instincts, you're going to die. Like, even if it's an intense pain, you're better off, putting up with it rather than dying.
And I think my favourite part of the whole thing is, like, it's not even halfway through. It's not before he starts going, like, screaming. There's a moment where, like, his hand is there. And if we think about this, on set, he's literally just sticking his hand in a box, and then they've said action. Yeah. And Chalamet just has to do it all himself and just, like, act out all of these emotions.
It's a big call.
It's a bit, like, that's so hard. Like, just make something from nothing. So he's just, he's there, and there's a moment where, like, after he gets over the initial, like, tingling, and he just goes, huh, like, and it's just a moment of, like, there's just something that comes over his face, like, holy shit, this is stronger than I expected, but I don't want to show it to her. And it's just like a slight moment. I was like, that's such a great piece of acting. That
it's just such a little
the
thing
whole game away.
That's thrown in. And he does make a louder noise at one point, and she says,
yeah, he
silent.
starts screaming after that.
Yeah, and she shuts him up, and he just does his best to hold it in.
And that's all him. Like, nobody else in that whole scene is moving.
No, that's a regular box that he just put his hand into.
Not to tell everyone, but that's just a box they've gotten and they've cut a side out of. Said, Timothy, put your hand in that, and now action. Go on.
And I like when he pulls it out and he's, like, surprised that it's fine. Like, he was expecting to pull out, like, a hand burnt to a crisp or something like that.
And she's like, I like the moment where she's like, she kind of gives him a look that, oh, you're more powerful than I expected. Like, she wanted to kill him. Like, she really wanted to kill him there because he's the only son with that power. So she's like, she wanted to get rid of him.
Because the Bene Gesserit, they're a sisterhood. Like, there's no males in it.
And so then Lady Jessica comes back in, and it's at this point where he's like, I've been having dreams. And she has this, like, great line where she's like, oh, do your dreams come true? And he's like, oh, sometimes. And it's at that point she's like, alright, I don't give a fuck, alright.
Yeah.
She just fucking leaves. And I'm just like, dude, even a 50% win ratio is pretty good for dreams.
Yeah, like, but also, like, it gives the idea that, like, she was prepared for that to be a thing. Like, that he had dreams that came true. She was fully prepared that he had that power already.
Yeah, and so now it's just developing, so she doesn't care. Okay, fine. I'll come back when you're more stable. I've
got a couple of years to sort this out, basically.
Yeah, I kill you again. And so the next scene is she leaves. She just fucks off, and Lady Jessica's like, "You are the chosen one," or they think you're the chosen one.
Can I just say, props to this movie because they just dropped the name Kwisatz Haderach. They just dropped that in conversation, and it's never addressed again.
I got Lisan al-Gaib.
Lisan al-Gaib is what the Fremen people call the arrival. Because here's the thing, is that the sisterhood, anytime a sister is going to a new place, they'll plant seeds of, like, oh, there's a saviour will come.
There's
eventually.
a Messiah.
There's a Messiah, basically. So then when these new people arrive, they're like, oh, the Lisan al-Gaib. So,
right, okay.
So it's all fucking connected. Like, the sisterhood has their finger in every single pie in the galaxy.
And so they're basically preempting his arrival. They'd be like, he's the chosen one.
That's it. So if anything should happen, the Fremen people will not think of them as outsiders. They'll think of them as the chosen one, basically.
Yeah, and look, makes sense. If anything were to happen. But that's going to happen, because they just now are really rich. And so they leave for Arrakis, and it's just them, like, leaving the planet. It's such a beautiful area as well, and they're like, they all just get into the ships, and you have Oscar Isaac there, like, just looking, I was going to say the word leaderly, but that's not a word. He looks like a true, like, proper leader, that he's just standing there, and his head is just held, he's just tilted his head back like, I belong here, I'm just going to try and you could tell he's nervous, but you could also tell, like, I gotta put on a brave face. We're gonna walk out of this ship.
He's not an idiot either. Like, he knows. He might not know that the Emperor plans to overthrow them, basically, but he knows that, look, whatever state this place is in, the Harkonnens aren't going to make it easy for us.
Yeah, and I think that's the best bit, is that you get to say, like, he's not dumb. Like,
no,
he's like, this is definitely a trap, right? Yeah, but we can get rich off it, I suppose. I mean, but see, he can't turn it down because the Emperor's given it to him. And I think there's a line that's like, you can't reject it if the Emperor's given it to you.
Yeah, and even when the ceremony is on, he's like, no, the Atreides will answer the call as they always do, as they always have done. Like something like that. And it's like, no, like he's going to say yes if he's ordered to. He's not going to fight it.
And so they land in the city, and then you just basically get an introduction of like this barren wasteland, and they're just like going through. It's a whole introduction to like, we've got walls all around the city for the sandworms, and you don't want to leave the city, you'll get fucked. The heat is outrageous. Just, you do not want to be out in it like maybe 15 hours of the day. The rest of the time you might survive maybe 2 hours.
That's it. Yeah, like the Fremen travel at night because it's cooler then. That's another thing that they go through. And what I like about it is that Paul later on, he's just going around during the day because he's like, oh, these people are out during the day, so why shouldn't I be?
Yeah, and I think that's kind of like his first side of leadership as well. He's like, those people are being punished. Like, if they're able to survive, I can join them. It's fine.
Yeah.
And that's him going out like checking the trees and all. But it's just, I mean, it's a beautiful movie just in terms of how it looks. Like,
yeah, it's like they made like a desert and like pretty much they made like a city built to protect from heat. They made all of that look interesting.
Yeah, and even the bit where like you have the Duke, Oscar Isaac. I'm just going to call him Oscar Isaac.
Just interchange it. It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like looking around. He's like looking at the city, and someone just says, "Sir, we need to go inside and close the doors because it's getting so hot." And I was like, holy how hot does it get?
Yeah.
They're going to go inside and close all the doors. You're like, you're not even allowed on the balcony. You're going to die.
Yeah, like it's wild, and it conveys it really well in a way that the book does it well as well, but like it conveys in a very like, you can see the actors being hot and uncomfortable kind of a thing, and it just sells it a bit more.
And so while this is happening, we cut back to the Harkonnens, and fucking witch lady's there, fucking Helen.
Hell yeah.
Witch. Hell no, Shaun. And she's like, put the sound around us, and then this is when you find out.
Sorry, can I just say, you know that spider thing that is in it?
What's up with that?
No one fucking knows. It's not in the book. No one knows what that is.
Just a spider.
Just a weird spider. There is speculation. I've been on some forums, right?
That's Peter Parker.
It's Peter Parker. It's Andrew Garfield.
That's Andrew Garfield. That's the only spider he'll be in any movie this year.
It's speculated that was a certain betrayer's wife, because they say that she'd been put back together a dozen times or some shit like that.
They made her. That's a stretch, but I can see it.
But it's Dune, man. It's really weird. Once you get past book one, it gets weirder.
I mean, look. It's just a spider. To tell it to fuck off. Spider fucks off.
It's a really odd inclusion to have. No one has a clue.
She's just like, here, spider, fuck off. And he holds his hands up and he's like, alright, mate, I don't want any of this. So he backs out slowly. And so then she's like, they've arrived on the planet, right? They've arrived. And then you have the Harkonnens, and they're like, the Emperor has given us his armies. And we have his Ghost Recon fucking team, like,
the Sardaukar. They're like an imperial death force. Like, they're ridiculous.
But like, they're like, if the clones could shoot, but these guys are with swords.
Yeah, like, it's also just sorry, very quickly on that, the intricacies of shield combat, right? So the slow blade penetrates the shield. That's something we're taught. That will play into things later. If you shoot because like a lot of the military has las guns, like laser pistols basically, but if you shoot a shield with a las gun, the energy interacts in such a way that it basically causes like an atomic blast. So no army, if you know you're going in to fight people with shield, you're not bringing your laser rifles because it's too dangerous.
Right, okay.
So it just comes down to hand-to-hand combat at the end of the day.
And these guys are basically like just killers. Like
they're
best
masters
of the best.
at it. Like that world
and
they're
the
on is a
Harkonnens,
fucking hell world, and they survive.
And the Harkonnens are like, we have our army, and the Emperor's given us them, and so we're gonna show up. We're gonna kill everybody in the Atreides family, kill off the whole family. We get the planet back. Atreides, who people are starting to love. Emperor now looks even cooler because he doesn't have to compete with these fucking cool fuckers anymore.
Yeah.
They're all gone.
End the bloodline.
And nothing comes back to the Emperor. He loves the fact that we're coming out as the bad guys. We get our planet. We kill off one of the main guys.
Because the Sardaukar, the Death Force, they dress in Harkonnen gear. To do it so that no one knows that they were involved.
It's so good. It's so intricately good that that's what you would do to kill off this family that's getting a bit too popular with all the other houses.
Yeah, and the thing about it is that like, and this is like one of the big tragedies, like the Atreides have no intention of challenging the throne.
I mean, if we're going to be honest here, it is the Starks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's the exact same idea of like you have a very popular family that
and there's jealousy involved.
And there's jealousy, but they're very popular. They don't want anything more. They just want to be kings. They just want the North, area.
One thing
the Atreides just want the North.
One thing that Dune has in like its court in that regard is that it's said that like the Emperor has no sons. So if the Emperor died and like a bloodline was called into question and it came to a popular vote, the Atreides might not even they would be like the emperors, but they would be like the ruling family basically of the Imperium.
And I mean, it's so good, and it's something that comes across immediately. Like I feel like I'm really dumb, and I was like, I get what's happening here. Like I understand what they mean. Like he wants to kill them off because they're too popular, and he's worried that they're going to overthrow him, even though they don't want that power. And as I said, it's something similar we've seen in other projects, but other projects such as Game of Thrones, such as Lord of the Rings, such as Star Wars, all that stuff took it from this. So it's kind of like fair folks.
Yeah, it's a real... Yeah, it's like you know how to play a game because you've played other board games that came after that. You know?
And so we come back to you have Duncan arriving. Duncan arrives back, and he's like, I've been living amongst them for weeks, I think he says.
Weeks, and he's impressed with them, man. Like he's like, these are warriors.
Look, you believe him. You believe him immediately because you're like, this is the most trustworthy man in the whole world. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, and he's like, I think it said like the Harkonnens counted like 50,000 Fremen, but Duncan has been like actually getting to know them and talking, and there's like 10 million on the planet or something like that.
Because the Harkonnens have given them everything wrong. So in terms of equipment, in terms of the numbers, they basically like just said, we're going to give the planet to you, but they just gave them wrong information. But it's by that proxy, it's also a decoy. So the Atreides could be like, oh, dickheads, Harkonnens, they did this to try and kill us off by giving us the wrong information.
Yeah,
but
that's what's happening here.
That was just general shithousery on top of the murder plant. They're just like, let's do a bit of shithousery, then kill them all. Just ruin their days up to that point. So yeah, Duncan comes back and he brings back one of the leaders with him. And
Stilgar. Stilgar is my dude, by the way. I love Stilgar so much. Yeah, he's a fucking great character.
Javier Bardem, who just turns up halfway through, and I was like, that's fucking Javier Bardem. Javier Bardem. There's a scene with Josh Brolin, Timothée Chalamet, Jason Momoa, Oscar Isaac, and Javier just walks in.
That's a mad cast list. Like, it's fucking ridiculous. But I like how this... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say the bit with the spitting is funny when he spits, and I like the idea that Oscar Isaac immediately, like, he doesn't react. There's constantly like the soldiers are trying to slice people.
Yeah, Gurney is there with a knife just ready to go.
Yeah, Oscar Isaac's stop. Because he's just like, let's hear him out. Because then Jason Momoa says, this is what his people do. This is actually a sign of respect. He's giving you saliva as a sign of respect.
He's giving you his body's moisture, because moisture is so precious to the Fremen. Like, and it's a nice way of getting that across really, really quickly. I think it will come up more in book 2, like the importance of moisture, but they do it really nice. And Oscar Isaac, you're right, he stays calm throughout the whole thing, and he's just like, I don't know this man's customs, so I'm going to let him do what he wants, and we'll see. Like, he lets him keep the knife that's sacred to him, the Chris knife. And there's a really good line, and Oscar Isaac is just like, Duncan Idaho is like, we thank you for your body's the gift of your body's moisture in the spirit that it was given. And that's like, it's so like, I recognise that this is important to your people, and thank you for that.
Yeah, and that's what makes him a good leader. And like, immediately, like, you have this level-headed leader that's just like, no, let's hear him out. This is his planet. Let's not fucking piss him off. Whereas it would have been very easy just to kill him. Yeah. Like, I'm the king now. Nobody talks down to me, right?
But then you have war with 10 million Fremen. Like,
exactly. And so he's thinking logically, because he's such a good, like, just strategist. Like, why would I piss him off when we can work together? And you have these really two good leaders in the room where he's like, I want the best for the Fremen. He's like, well, I want the best for my people, and I don't want to stand on your toes. I think we can work together. There's literally no point in us fighting.
That's it. We need to mine the spice, but like, your Seaches, your people, the desert is yours outside of that.
And it's the complete opposite to the Harkonnens, who were like killing them. Whereas he's like, we don't want anything to do with that. You can live your life. This is your planet. We just literally want the spice because it's been given to us by the Emperor. We don't even barely want to be here. But we're just here. We don't want to kill you. We just want to do our jobs and get on with our lives.
Exactly. And there's a moment earlier on, you mentioned about the trees, where Paul is just like, oh, should we cut down the trees because they take water? And your man is just like, well, each tree takes the water of 5 men per day to keep it fresh, basically. And it ends up being like 5 lives or something like that per day to keep these fucking trees alive. But that's just how it's done. And that's like instilled, I am assuming, by the Harkonnens, because it's in the compound.
Yeah. And so it's just him just going along with the customs, not coming in to rip it all up.
Yeah.
And for example, in the next scene, they go out into the desert, and we have Poe Dameron, and he's flying around. Even the bit with the suit beforehand.
Very important, actually, that scene. It's the still suits, which recycles your body's water, and you lose like a thimbleful a day in the full heat of the desert, which is unreal. And they have to adjust Gurney's suit. Liat Kynes, who's like the planetologist, has to adjust Duke Leto's suit. But
that's
Paul's
played by Sharon Duncan Brewster. She's like, the Imperial Ecologist.
Ecologist, that's it. And originally male in the book, but like it's as good of a transition as anything. And Paul his suit is perfect. And she's like, have you worn one of these before? And he's like, no, it felt right. Because the Bene Gesserit, in this whole Lisan al-Gaib thing, had planted certain like indicators of a Messiah, and one of them is that he will know your customs as if born to them.
Yeah, and she says that to him. She like uses that under her breath.
And it's just like it's just reaffirming that he's the one, like he'll be saved. The Reverend Mother arranges with the Baron. She's like, oh, the woman and the boy, they belong to the Bene Gesserit.
Yeah,
they're not to be touched.
Do not kill them. And he doesn't lie, because he says, we won't kill them.
Yeah. But the desert...
Nudge. If we pushed them into the desert, technically... He does the Batman Begins. We don't have to kill them, but we also don't have to save them if they're in trouble.
Or the Dark Knight Rises. They do the death by exile.
Basically, yeah. I mean, I wasn't killing them. I was just exiling them into the desert with no water. And so they go into the desert, and this is where we see like all the... I mean, this scene is just there for the vastness of it all, and to introduce the sandworm, and holy shit, looks fucking fantastic.
It's so good.
But the ship breaks down, and there's a big sandworm coming, so they're like, we need to get out of there. And so one of the ships that turns up to try to lift the spice, I don't know what they're called, spice trucks,
spice harvester, I think it is.
Yeah, it's going to get it away, but one of the fucking arms is broken off. Not broken, but like just not working.
It doesn't attach. It's like 4 points of contact, and one of them fails.
It's a faulty piece of equipment that the Harkonnens have left them, just basically to fuck with them. And so Poe Dameron's like, I'm going to save them, don't worry. So he flies down, he lands. I'm going to call him Poe because that's what he does there.
But he's like, he tells them like, listen, abandon the crawler, like abandon the spice harvester.
Yeah, abandon the spice. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and he says like, damn the spice, save these men. And he's such a fucking good leader. I love him so much.
He's going to live forever. And so
nothing bad will ever happen to this man.
And so he's like, yeah, guys, we got to say, fuck the spice. Spice doesn't matter, even though it's the most important thing in the whole world. And the Harkonnens would literally kill everyone just for an extra piece of spice.
Yeah.
We're like, we're going to save those 8 lads in the fucking, I think it's 21 people. He's like, we got 3 ships, 7 each. We'll get them out of there.
But there's this it's such a good fucking movie, because they're like, Paul says to his dad, he's like, these ships can only take 6 people, like 6 extra people in addition to what we have. But then Paul is like, there's, I think it's a refiner or a battery or something that weighs 100 kilos each, so that's another man. So Leto is just like, right, get those off. Throw those out in the sand, and we'll get everyone on board.
Yeah, like, I'm sacrificing my shields just to get these people out of here.
The shield generators, that's it. They're 100 kilos each. And you can't use shields in the desert anyway, because it attracts the worms.
We just need the people. Like, we don't need the shields. And so, and that's just like leadership at that point in crisis. And you also have like the Imperial ecologist at that point is just like looking at him going, oh, he's slightly different. Oh shit! Yeah. Like he's not just here just to mine all the spice. He doesn't. He actually cares,
because the ecologist knows what's up. Lead Kynes knows what's up with this whole transfer.
100% aware they're all going to die.
Yeah, and she's like, oh, this guy doesn't deserve this.
Yeah. And so they save all the people, and within that, Paul ends up like out in the spice, and he's like breathing it in, and it's, use a Pokemon term, super effective against old Paul.
He is sensitive to the old spice, it turns out. He's
high as a fucking kite by the time that Josh Brolin arrives. Yeah. And it's just like, and I like the bit where like, even when he's really high and he's seeing Zendaya and he's like, he's just daydreaming. No, not daydreaming, but like, he's seeing all these dreams constantly. They're just flowing through non-stop. And you get the sense that even when we're not seeing them, they're just constantly happening.
Yeah.
And then Josh Brolin shows up and he's like, heard your footsteps, old man. He just kind of mutters it under his breath. And you see Brolin's arm just grab him and drag him. It's like, you're going to die if you stay here.
Yeah, you need to sprint towards this ship right now.
And they get him into the ship and he's just like, he's absolutely out of it. And I like the bit where, we also missed the bit where he nearly got assassinated by the little fly thing.
Yeah.
And he catches it.
The Hunter Seeker, I think it's called.
Oscar Isaac has the great scene after that where he's just like, your man's like, oh, fire me, like I'm going to give it. He's like, no, just protect my son.
Someone tried to assassinate my son. You want to repent? You fucking find them.
Yeah, of course. But it's at this point where he's like a proper dad. He's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You need to listen
he properly
to me.
Chastises him, like, it's like, you cannot do that. Like,
but like not in a mean way. Just like, you could have died. Like, what are you doing? And Paul's like, I just got lost in it. Like, I landed and the spice just took me.
He gets inspected by the doctor and everything. The doctor that everyone trusts.
Doctor says he's grand. Just needs a few tablets. He'll sleep all night by. Absolutely fine. Not a bother on him. And we're like, I trust that doctor with my fucking life. So
he's the guy. Grand. He's the guy. He'll make it to the end.
At this point, he also finds out his mother is pregnant. Well, he finds out as in like he sees it.
Yeah, because the spice has awakened something in Paul. It turns, those dreams that didn't always come true. They might be getting a bit more accurate. Yeah,
basically, he got interacted with the spice, and whatever magic he had, it just like multiplied it. Like it gave him a level up. He had the Crash Bandicoot. He got the mask.
Yeah.
And now he's going. Now he's flying, so he is. And so you have the bit where he's just like, you find out the mother is pregnant, and then they all go to bed, Shaun. And to be honest with you, lovely night's sleep. Not a worry in the world.
I think end of part 1 right there.
And I'm thinking this is end of part 1. I'm thinking this is a nice movie. Everyone's lovely. Everyone's alive. I've been loving it so far.
Couple of things as well, just on the going to sleep thing. They're all given like sleeping tablets.
The doctor gives them all sleeping tablets, yeah.
Yeah. And Paul takes them. Lady Jessica, I think, takes them. Leto doesn't.
Yeah, because he doesn't want that.
He's just like, I want to fall asleep fucking naturally. I'm under so much stress. In the books, he's awake for like days on end. He just takes caffeine pills to keep him going. And I like it. This is just like, no, he doesn't want to fall asleep with synthetic things. Also, he has a conversation with Jessica, and he's just like,
yes.
If it comes to it, will you protect Paul? And she's like, of course, I'm his mother. I'm not asking his mother. I'm asking the Bene Gesserit.
Yeah.
Will
like,
you protect
Paul?
Paul?
You're a weird witch nun cult.
Yeah.
Will you go with them, or are you going to protect us? There's your 1 to 2. Because I think he says, like, Paul is very distracted. What the fuck is going on? What did you tell him?
Yeah.
That ever since he met your weird witch nun leader, he's been all over the place.
He's been off. Yeah. And
that's why he was down, because he thinks that's why Paul was down by the ship, like nearly dying earlier on. He's like, his brain is not around. What did you do to him?
That's it. And yeah, and he knows, like, oh, you can control people, like, with your voice. What if she told him to go, sit in front of a sandworm?
Yeah. And so and that's great, because like that's proper parent stuff. That he's looking out for his kid. He's like, what's going on with him? There's something off, but he doesn't realise, like, it's the spice more so than anything else. Like, it's not anything that she did.
No, it's just the environment. He's on a planet made of the stuff, like.
Yeah, and so what happens, Shaun, next is the movie decides to just kick you in the fucking face for the next, like, hour.
Yeah,
because it's all going. Set up until this point. It's all just like,
this is all prologue, man.
We're at the prologue, and it's at this point, about an hour and a half in, the movie decides, right, let's kill everyone. So, what happens is the Harkonnens turn up, and they've got their fucking soldiers, their ghost recon boys with them, and they basically, the Doctor betrays Leto.
Yeah, Doctor betrays not just Leto, all of the Atreides.
He turns down the shields, he turns off the shields, turns off all the defense systems, and then fires a dart into his back. And I like the fact that it goes to him and the shield protects him that he's wearing, but the dart is in a place that he can't reach, so it's just slowly entering his bloodstream.
Working its way in.
And he can't get it. And so then you have Oscar Isaac just basically paralysed up against the wall. Like, he's awake, but he can't move. And you see the Doctor being like, they have my family. Like, they have my wife. I had to do it. That was part of the deal. And he's like, I'm sorry. And Soz.
Two things. He replaces one of his back teeth with a poison capsule that will produce a poison gas to give him just one chance to kill the fucking Baron. And he takes the ring and he's like, for Paul. Which is like, it must give Leto some comfort, because clearly he knows in that moment, like, okay, he doesn't want to kill Paul.
Yeah, Paul's still alive.
Yeah, Paul is fine at the minute.
And it's just me, and he's the type of person to be like, I'll sacrifice my life.
He would die in a second for his family. Like, he wouldn't think twice.
So he gets paralysed, and then all of the Harkonnens just turn up. And oh my god, it's such a beautifully shot. The bit when Brolin and all that are awake and they get all the army together, like, let's fucking go, and they all go sprinted out into the ships, and the ships exploding is some of the best. Like, it's because the rocket hits it and then it slowly implodes from the inside, and you can see it breaking apart as it does. It's just beautiful.
It looks like they've made a miniature and exploded that. Like, it's that good. I like how he's just shouting, commands to people. Like, anything with wings, get it off the fucking ground.
Yeah, and they're trying their best to survive, but like they've all been woken up in the middle of the night. They've no defense systems, and they've got ghost recon teams along with Harkonnen teams just attacking them from all sides constantly. Like, they don't have a fucking hope. It doesn't matter how much
they're on the back foot and they're outnumbered.
And it's also said that the Harkonnens attacked hundreds of defense posts simultaneously, because
there's a bunch of like outposts all around the planet. And so they
attacked every single one of them at once, which I think Paul is like, they must have had like so many ships. Like, how did they have that many ships? It's not possible.
And
unless they have some help.
Yeah, some kind of imperial fleet, if you will.
The bit where the soldiers are fighting on the stairs, and they're like fighting down, and then you have the lads land behind them, and then you're just like, oh, they're fucked. Like, they're just stuck in the middle.
And it's all like swords and shields and spears that they're fighting with.
And it's just really great. Like, and it's not even about the fight scenes. The fight scenes are fine. It's just the vibe, the feeling that you get. You're like, there's no hope here. Like, everybody's
they're going to lose. You know they're going to lose.
And it's not even going to be close. Like, it's just going to be a massacre for everyone. We don't even see Brolin die, but like, he's definitely dead. Is he? You've read the book, Shaun.
Look, what I will say, it's like Gurney Halleck, who is an amazing soldier and an amazing musician as well as it goes, but he's against the full might of the Emperor's death force, Connor.
I assumed he was dead.
And Duncan gets Duncan Idaho gets he just walks through, lads, here.
And you get this sense that, holy shit, you don't fuck with Duncan. So Duncan leaves his room and he's like, what the fuck is going on? And he just sees soldiers and he just goes into game mode. And he just starts mowing through lads. And like, more lads are coming from the left and he's mowing through them. And he's just like, these are not just Harkonnens.
Yeah. Because he knows by fighting them that they're...
Like, he knows their fighting stance. He's like, they're in Harkonnen gear, but they're definitely not Harkonnens.
These are a different thing altogether.
So then just them... Duncan's escape, by the way, is like really great, because we're with him and he gets into a ship and he gets up into the fucking air. You're constantly thinking he's going to die, but he gets out of there and he escapes. And on
I
the
think
other
it's a testament to this movie that had the story just followed Duncan from here on, I think it would still be as interesting. Even if they deviate from the books that amount, I would still watch that character just go about.
Yeah, because he's the coolest person in the whole movie.
He's the coolest fucking person in the world. Like,
he's just like the biggest badass, but the nicest man in the whole world. So you're just like, let's follow him.
But you're right. On the other side of the compound, you have Paul and Jessica being kidnapped,
and they've been basically kidnapped and put in a ship, and the Harkonnens are like, we're not going to kill them, but we're going to drop them in the desert. And then they start saying things like they're going to have sex with Jessica.
A bunch of rapey stuff going on.
Just a bunch of rapey vibes, which, to be fair, up until this point, I was still on bad terms with the Harkonnens at that point anyway. There wasn't
really
a moment where I was like,
it for
this has turned me. You know what? These guys are pretty bad.
But there's really good things. Like, one of the guards that they brought is deaf, so the voice can't be used on him.
Yes, and you notice that because they do sign language. So Jessica's like sign languaging over to Paul, like the language of like, he's deaf, we can't use the voice on him. So Paul's like, okay, but they don't cover Paul's mouth because they're like, he doesn't have any powers. Fuck him.
Yeah.
But Jessica does, so they gag her, and Paul is like trying to use the voice, and your man just like slaps him around the place, like, what the fuck you doing? And eventually he gets it to lower down her thing.
I like how that's the play, like, and it's in the book as well, but it's such a good play because he could try and control him to like, kill everyone and take control of the ship, or I can get the person who's most powerful with the voice in this helicopter and just get her able to speak.
Because he's aware, like, she's the most powerful person here. Like, I need to get her free, like, because I can't do this.
He knows
I might win once, but she'll like win every single one.
Yeah, like, he knows his limits, and he knows she's way better than him.
And so she gets free and is basically just, stab your friend. Okay, open the door. Okay, throw him out. Okay, stab him. And she just like mows through them using the voice, which is just really cool to see, to be honest.
The voice effect is really good as well, like that echoey like layered thing that they do.
Yeah, he said that he wanted like the voice not just to be their voice, but it sounds like they're hearing all of the millenniums of people who've used the voice as well. So when they speak, you hear like thousands of voices at once. That's
another thing as well, actually. Lore wise, say the Reverend Mother of the Bene Gesserit like has all of the other Reverend Mothers' knowledge, like going back however far. So that the voice carrying the weight of all of those magical powerful people makes a lot of sense. And
I just think it sounds cool, just in terms of a sound effect. Good stuff, guys.
The sound design on this film is really good. We didn't really talk about it, but the ornithopters, like the dragonfly helicopter things.
Oh, beautiful. Just fucking gorgeous.
Sounds so good, like the beat of the wings and everything like that. It's so good.
And I mean, it's something so simple. Apparently, they actually went out to the desert and they just recorded the sounds of the sand, and then they just blew it up onto the screen to get it out.
Like
instead of like doing it just like not naturally, they just went out there and they got the sound and then they blew it up for the movie
on like a sound stage or something. It doesn't have the same effect.
Oh my god, everything's... They just went above and beyond. It shouldn't work, but somehow it does.
It does indeed.
Also, you know what I loved is the next scene where we have Oscar Isaac naked, and he's just like, and it's such a well shot scene of like, how do you absolutely destroy this man who like is a duke and he's like the leader.
He's been so respectable and like so like at the peak the whole movie.
Yeah. And so now he's just paralysed, completely naked, just like can't move at the one end of a dining table, and then at the other end you've Stellan Skarsgård, as all villains do, eating and talking at the same time, like just telling them like
he's disgusting. He's a disgusting human. Like, and he's so fat. Like, he has the suspensor things, like the floaty orbs. He needs them to move around because he's just so gluttonous, I suppose is the word.
He's just all. But the great shot is like you have him eating, and like behind him he has all of his generals and like all of his right and left hand men. And then on the far side you just have Oscar Isaac's just paralysed body just lying there like you've got nothing. Like, I'm after taking everything from you.
Yeah. Like, and look, this might be me reaching. Do you know the statue of the Pieta? Which is like Mary cradling Jesus after he came down from the cross.
Yes.
He's in that exact pose. Oh.
I don't know if are you reading a lot of forums, Shaun?
I might be reading a lot of forums, alright? But I just think it's a fucking great scene. And it gets better.
The way I took it was just they've literally taken everything, even the clothes off his back from him.
Yeah.
Like and you're just sitting at his table.
They've ruined this man.
Eating his food, and he's just got nothing left. And yeah, so then the doctor comes in and he's like, I lowered down the shields for you, bud. And you said you were going to release my wife, because this always works in every film I've ever seen. This plan is going to work perfectly. You're the bad guy. You're definitely going to release my wife now, right? And the bad guy's like, of course I released your wife.
You can go and see your wife.
Yeah, I didn't tell you your wife was in heaven. And then he kills him, because of course he does, because the guy who betrays him always dies.
Yeah, never. Why would you trust the Baron in anything?
And then you have him talking to Oscar Isaac, and he's just basically gloating. And he's just like... What did you actually think I would ever give up this planet? Like, the Emperor wants you dead. Like, nobody likes you and your family. You're just an awful person. And Oscar Isaac bites into the tooth that's behind him, and he poisons him, and he poisons the whole room.
He knows he's going to kill himself doing it, but he's like, it doesn't matter at this point. Like, I'm dead anyway. He has nothing. Fuck him. And so he poisons gas. There's a great scene of like everyone clawing at their throats, like Piter, who's played by David Dastmalchian, like all clawing at the throats and robes and everything like that, and then the guard just like closing the door in a panic, and everyone's locked inside,
and you're thinking they did it, they're after killing the Baron. Wow, what a great choice.
Well, I guess this is the end of the film. Oh, no.
Oh, I thought it ended when they were all happy. Now I think it's going to end now when the bad guy's dead. And so we come back to Paul and Jessica. They're in like a tent. And they're basically like just in the middle of the desert now. Like they're fucked. And they're just camped out now underneath all this sand. And they're just kind of talking. And Paul is just like, I was going to use the word sniffing, but he's inhaling so much spice that it's just like...
I'd say huffing is the word.
Huffing, like he's absolutely not there. Like,
I saw a lot of people criticise this scene.
Did you?
On the forums. But
okay.
No, not on the forums. Like, just like a few news articles. I read a few Dune reviews and people were like, the character of Paul is very like weird and off-putting. And like I'm like, that's what he's supposed to be, because he's like a 16-year-old who just discovered he can see the future all at once.
And he also sees like he sees a million battles, and he sees him with blue eyes, and he sees like him killing people, and he also, the most important part is that he sees a load of people dying in his name as like a religious
under the Atreides banner.
Yeah, like a religious fucking cult killing people under his name.
Very interesting that you say that. Like a religious kind of holy war. In the books, it's referred to as a jihad. Like that's the thing. They call it a crusade in the movies. I see why they did it. But in the books, he has visions of this holy war waged in the name of Paul. Like...
Yeah, and like that, he's just freaking out. Like it's like he has the visions on steroids now, and he's just like seeing all this shit, and he's like, holy fuck, like so many people are dying.
This is the shit he used to see in his dreams, but he could just write it off as dreams. But now he's fully awake, and he's still seeing it.
So he doesn't know how to react. And I think like he reacts, like as you said, a 16-year-old, like, what the fuck is going on? And he just starts losing his mind.
He's furious as well, because he's like, you did this to me, at his mother. Like, he's like, I didn't ask for this.
Like, I just wanted to be a normal child, and you gave me these powers, and now I have to see all these people dying in my name in some weird, like, war that I don't even know is going to happen. Is it going to happen? Is it not? I'm just seeing all these visions of all these people dying, and me dying, and you dying, and Duncan dying.
And I've seen them all at once all the time.
I've seen everyone I love die multiple times a day.
That's going to mess with you.
And so they emerge from the tent, and eventually they like literally 2 seconds later, Duncan flies past.
This is a beautiful scene. This is such a good scene.
Go for it.
So first of all, Duncan had already been, and he was speaking to the ecologist.
I do
like, you knew this was going to happen. That it was a small scene, but it's just like Duncan has figured everything out basically by this point. But he comes up and he sees Paul
because
and
he knows that those weren't Harkonnen soldiers. So he's like, you knew the Emperor was going to fucking do this to us, and she's like, I wasn't allowed to get involved. I just had to sit
it's
back.
Not my business to say.
Yeah.
But he comes up and he sees Paul and Jessica, and he runs up and he hugs them both. And then he's like, Leto's dead. And then he just drops to his knees and calls Paul my Duke. And it's like, you're so loyal to the Atreides. Like, you are still operating as if this family is still in control.
Like, there's only 3 of you left. You 3.
Yeah. You're it. Like
that's it. That's the whole family. Unless somebody's left back on the whole planet. But that is... You are all that's left in terms of power.
Yeah, and in Chain of Command, like, because Jessica and Leto aren't married, they're just like a concubine situation. So like Paul is the last person with the Atreides name. Like that's, and Duncan is still like, okay, I answer to you. And
so you also have at this point, as I said, Duncan meets them, and then you have them cutting back, and they're just like, we gotta kill the son. The son's after getting away. We gotta hunt him down and kill him. And so you have Duncan, him and the ecologist basically take them back to, I'm gonna say her base. Is that what you describe it as?
It's like an old like ecology outpost that they had. And so the Harkonnens wouldn't necessarily look for it, and it might be a bit safer, is what they're going for.
And they basically, like, Paul has figured it all out now as well, and he's just like, the Emperor has basically killed us because he didn't want us uprising, taking all the families against him. Yeah. So the idea was he's just going to kill us off and then just still lead over everyone.
And
Paul is like, I'll marry one of his daughters and I'll like go to the top.
That's it. And they're like, you plan to be emperor after this, like, because it's like he's trying to think politically at this point. Like, what does he have to bargain with?
What would my dad do? Is what he's trying to think.
Yeah, and he gets it pretty much entirely wrong.
And I think at this point then that they get to the space, they're only there for like maybe a minute or two before they get hunted down. And
yeah, they do. It's so good. Oh, this fucking scene, man.
Go for it.
Okay, so like a legion of Sardaukar soldiers drop down on this base.
Proper Ghost Recon. Proper.
They're rappelling down and everything.
Yeah.
Well, they're like hovering, I suppose. But and Duncan realises this, and he's like, "You guys stay here." He locks the door behind him, and he takes on, I want to say, 14 death troops.
I had 12. So 12. I'll take 14, though. So
whichever. But more than 10 elite Imperial death troops by himself before getting stabbed through the stomach.
It's 1v14, but like the 14 are all just as trained as he is. But he's just like, fuck it, I'm going to defend my king. Like,
and like, they're funneling towards him, like in a hallway. And then they start cutting through the door, and he stands back up and roars at them. After being stabbed through the stomach, and he roars at them, stopping the laser cutting through the door, allowing Paul and Jessica to escape.
Yeah, he's buying them time, basically.
Yeah. And he realises that, and he knows that when he locks the door, but he's so willing to do it.
Duncan's the nicest man in the whole world.
But then we have to reconcile ourselves with the fact that Duncan's dead in that hallway, man.
Like, I mean, if he does come back, I don't know if he does, right?
He's dead in the hallway, Connor.
I mean, he's dead, right? But I was worried that they were going to bring him back somehow because, like, Jason Momoa is a big star. But after the first stabbing, I was like, maybe he can still come back. Like, he's going to crawl, and then he stands up again, and then like repeatedly stabbing him. Like, all right, now he's dead.
Yeah, he's fairly well gone at this point.
He's dead. And so the ecologist is like, right, I'm going to split up. You two take the ship, and I'm going to go out the other area, and we'll both escape, because the ship only takes two. So mother and son, they get into the ship, and they fly away, and then she's about to get on one of the sandworms, and then she gets stabbed, and she just gets taken out.
But even like at that point, she starts banging on the ground in a rhythm, which attracts sandworms. Because we learned earlier that they're attracted to anything that doesn't sound like the natural desert. And
she says to Paul, get the ship over 5,000 feet or 4,000 feet or so. Like, there's a big sandstorm coming in. You need to get above that. And so we see them flying, and at the same time, you have Batista goes back to Skarsgård, and he's like, they flew into a fucking dust thing. There's no survival.
No way. Like, there's no way they're alive.
Dead. I'm telling you, they're dead. And also, he's still alive somehow. He's in a load of black goo. Don't know how that's working out, Shaun.
It's like a healing tank kind of thing. There's a great scene, actually, when they come in to check the room after the gas went off. And he's just, like, clawed himself to the ceiling.
Yes!
To survive.
What's up with that? He's like a weird, like... He reminded me of Batman and Batman vs. Superman.
Kind of, yeah. But he's, like, feral at that point. Because he's just, like... Presumably there's, like, this tiniest sliver of air up there, and that's where he went.
And so we come back to Paul and Jessica in the ship, and he basically keeps getting visions like the spice is now just absolutely just riddling this lad.
Yeah.
And so he decides the spices just tell him let go of your whole body, just let it happen. And he's seeing all this through one man who is going to be his I would say leader, messiah, teacher.
Best friend.
Probably for the next... best friend for the next few years. He's seeing all these visions. This guy's telling him all about the spice, telling him all about the desert. These two are going to get on like a house on fire.
Stilgar, man, he's going to be quite the player, shall we say?
Yes.
I tell you, man, Stilgar is my dude. He's so cool. He's such a cool motherfucker.
Who?
Stilgar.
Oh yeah, sorry, no, that's not Stilgar. That he's seeing. It's the other guy in the Freeman tribe.
Oh, sorry, Jamis. Sorry.
Yes, that's who he's seeing. That's been like, we're best friends.
Sorry,
we'll look after you.
Yes, there is another vision of Stilgar that happened at another point in this movie.
Yes,
I got confused.
Yes. And so,
but yeah, him and Jamis, yeah, best friends to
best
the
friends
end.
Forever, literally.
Die. Yeah.
He's my ride or die. Not much riding going on. And so
not yet, part 2.
They survive the dust and they crash land and they get the suits on and they're just like, we gotta walk in the desert, like we're going here. And so they do the sand walk as well, which is a call back to earlier on.
Yeah, because he was looking at it in the encyclopedia, and there's that looks substantially less goofy than I thought it would from the book.
Yeah, but I suppose it makes sense. You just don't make a rhythm, like you're constantly
you kind of stagger your
shit.
steps, you sweep the sand, like to make it seem like, oh, this isn't a human walking around.
And so they have a run in with a big sandworm, Shaun, that is set at like dusk, which is perfect time because it's slightly dark, so the CGI doesn't have to be amazing. Still looks fantastic.
Still looks class.
And also it adds a level of horror to it, I think, because you're just like, holy shit, where the fuck is it? I can't even see, it's not daytime kind of thing.
Yeah, and like the sprint away from the sandworm is amazing.
You just get the level of like the size difference is what really comes across.
It's something that this movie does really well, is scale, like just how big things actually are. It
constantly shows people beside certain things, or like it gives you somewhere to look at, go, okay, well that's not that big, holy shit, that must be fucking gigantic then.
That's insane.
Like,
because we see it earlier on when he's at the spice harvester. You see Paul next to the spice harvester, and then the worm comes up and swallows that harvester.
And so they survive the worm, and it's only because like they're literally sprinting and the music is going like fucking mad. Hans Zimmer's having a fucking freak out and he's going mad playing, but they're sprinting. They survive only because somebody has started using one of the sand thumpers, I think they're called, somewhere else. And Paul immediately is like, we only survived because someone started using one of them. Like, we would have been dead.
Someone's watching us is basically what he's saying there.
Yeah. And so they, very soon after, they run into a group of freemen. And it's actually Zendaya. She's in this movie,
it turns out.
She turns out she's not just in, like, seeing futures thing. She's actually in the present. She's
actually a real person. I think she has said, like, her part is expanded quite a bit in part 2.
Oh, part 2, I'm assuming, like, is her movie. Sure, they've killed off half the crew. They have to bring in a bunch of more people.
The cast budget has gone substantially down for the second movie.
The CGI effects are going to be off the charts, part 2. Like, we don't have to pay $60 million to see these people.
But they run into a group of Fremen, like, led by Stilgar, and they're just like, okay, the boy can stay because he's young enough to learn our ways, but the mother she's too far gone. She'll never be able to survive. And they
go to kill her, but she defeats Stilgar. Well, not defeats him, but like she's like, get the fuck off me.
Outmatches him, yeah. Like she, because they know the weirding way, which Stilgar says. So it's a form of fighting where your movements basically accelerate at different times. So you can, against someone who doesn't know that way of fighting, you have the upper hand all the time. And Stilgar's even like, why didn't you say you could fight like that? Obviously you can stay now.
But it's at this point that, what's the other guy's name?
Jameis.
And Jam's not a big fan of this. Even though him and Paul are going to be best friends, he's like,
oh yeah,
that can't stand. That she can't do that to our leader. I'm going to put up a fight here. I'm going to fight her.
But Stilgar's like, Jamis, you can't fight her. She's a Sayadina. That's the Fremen word for a Bene Gesserit.
Ah, okay, right. And so, see, I didn't understand that. And so
that's the thing. It just drops in, like.
Yeah, I think I didn't understand it, but I was going with it. I was just like, okay, right, he can't fight her.
So Perfect.
Okay, right, I get that gist. Who's he fighting then? And I'm like, okay, well, you only have Paul. So I was like, right, he's going to fight Paul.
Yeah.
And Paul's like, okay, I'll be her champion. And so there's a great scene beforehand where Paul is seeing a million different futures and he's seeing himself die a million different ways, in all these different ways in the fight. And I love that idea that, like, he's seeing all the ways that he loses and he sees them all so that he never does any of them that actually in real life. And so, but the best part about this is I was like, but isn't that the guy that's going to be his friend? Like, can't end in death. Like, that's the guy that him and your man are going to be best friends. So it doesn't make any sense. So Zendaya also comes over to him.
Yeah, she's Chani is her character's name, and she's like, if you're going to die, it would be an honour to die with this weapon, this
and
Chris
that's the
knife.
blade he keeps seeing all movie long that he dies from.
The thing about that blade, the reason it's sacred, it's a tooth from one of the sandworms that they call Shai Hulud, just means basically the god worm. But if you draw that blade, it has to touch blood before it goes back in its sheath. Like, that's the tradition. So there's a moment earlier, and it's real subtle, but like, because they all drew their blades when they saw Paul and Jessica first, before they put them away, they all cut their hand and then put it back in the sheath.
I didn't understand what was going on.
Once the blade is drawn, it needs blood before it goes back in. That's their tradition.
Or what? Like, it's just going to go, fuck off.
No, but like, why does anyone do any tradition? You know, it's just like, oh, it's the right thing to do.
Okay, right. I like the idea, like, you don't get blood, you put it back in, and you pull it back out, and it just crumbles. It's like, oh, fuck you.
You'd be gas crack at the Trevi fountain, you know that? Why are you throwing money into it?
I just don't understand customs, Shaun, sorry.
Right? What did you think of the duel?
I thought it was great. Like, I love the idea that he has seen all of the reasons of how he dies, and so he can't be beaten. Like, he's just seen every possible future of what stupid things he does.
Yeah.
So when he wins, I didn't see that as him being the best fighter ever. Like, I don't see that as Paul being like this expert fucking marksman. I just see it as like, it's the Groundhog Day effect. Like, he has just seen enough futures to be like, okay, well, I'm just not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this.
He found 10,000 ways to not make a light bulb, kind of a thing.
Yeah, like he found out the 10,000 ways where he dies, and he's like, okay, I'm going to do the 10,001st way, and hopefully won't make me die.
One. During the fight as well, and I touched on this a few weeks ago when we were talking about Dune. I think it was one of the trailers. But Paul is still fighting as if he's wearing a shield, and his opponent is wearing a shield.
Yes.
So he's really fast, and then just before the kill, he slows down, and he tries to get your man to yield because he doesn't want to kill him.
And he tries 3 times to get him to yield.
And your man is furious with this. Like, Jamis is like, this is an insult to me.
That's even worse than killing him.
Yeah, and Stilgar is like, is he fucking toying with him? Like, this isn't right. And Jessica's like, no, he's never killed a man before. Like,
he's a fucking kid, like. He just brought here and his dad died yesterday.
He's been through a lot in the last 48 hours, I'll be honest.
And so, like, eventually he just decides, okay, I have to kill him, because there's no way out of this. Like, the guy won't give up. And so he has to kill his new mentor. But that, I think, is really interesting, because that means he's not reliable. Like, he has seen that multiple times, that guy be his mentor, in multiple different futures. And the guy's just dead.
Like, Paul, he sees multiple versions of multiple futures. Like, so it's even more, because if it was just one, it'd be fine. But when you see
and now we can't trust him.
Yes. So when you see the entire web, it's just like, he still has choice in the matter. You know, he can still do different things.
And I think it makes him less, like, you don't have to nerf him then. Because when he does win the fight, I'm just like, okay, well, he's seen all the futures. But he also seen this guy be his best friend, and he killed him. So, next fight, does he trust all the futures that he sees? How many futures does he have to see before he's like, okay, I have the general idea of how not to die in this one?
And what would be really interesting is if he was like, if he saw the futures that he wanted, and then was like, okay, this is what I need to do to make this happen.
Exactly. And you know if that happens or not, so don't be... I
don't have a clue, man. I genuinely don't have a clue. I was just saying that'd be cool.
How many books have you read?
5.
5, okay. Just to get that clear. And so eventually he does win the fight, and the movie ends with him basically saying, I want to stay with Stilgar, I want to stay with the Freemen, I'm now part of the Sand People, and I'm going to use sand power, and we're going to fucking take back this planet. Yeah,
like his destiny lies in the desert, I think he says. Something like that.
I think that's the line he says. And so the movie ends as a part 1, a definite part 1, surely.
Yeah.
Of, like, the first half of this movie, that the minute it finished, I was like, fuck, I want to see how it happens next, or what happens next. It was like a
I wanted to keep going. Like, I've not had that feeling with a movie, like, in a while. Like, I think Infinity War had a bit of that, where I was like, oh, I want to see this carry on. But this is like, because to be fair, I do pretty much know what's going to happen, but I want to see it on screen. I want more of the same, please.
Yeah, like I knew nothing of this movie going in, and it was just literally, I finished it and I was like, fuck, I can't wait to see what happens next. It was... And I touched on it at the very, very start, but it's the exact same feeling I got watching the early seasons of Game of Thrones. When you're, like, doing a binge, and you finish an episode, and you're like, fuck, I may click on the next episode to know what happens.
Do you know what it felt like? Is like, you had maybe 2 seasons of Game of Thrones to binge, and you watched them all within, like, a week, and then you had to wait week on week for those episodes to come out.
And you're just like, oh, it's trickling. But, like, not season 8, but, like, season 3. Like, you binge season 3, you're like, can't wait for season 4 to come out. What the fuck is going to happen?
I'm honestly so happy that this movie did as well as it has. I'm delighted it's getting a sequel. And, like, it's made decent money as well, in addition to it's on HBO Max as well.
So I think it's made, as of our recording, $300 million on a $160 budget, or $60 million budget.
Yeah, so it's pretty much like doubled. Like, you need to usually double your money from your budget to make it.
Well, with this cast, you'd probably need to quadruple it.
Well, that's fair. That's very fair. But like they've done that in a time when a lot of cinemas have restrictions or might not even be open and things like that. Also, with the HBO Max streaming, that was obviously going to take away box office sales.
So, in regards to the film itself, what are... I mean, I'm trying to think of some negatives, because I think we've just been gushing over this movie non-stop.
Yeah, and there are a couple, I suppose. Like, it would be nice if the characters who have a lot of parallels drawn to Middle Eastern culture and influence, it'd be nice if they were portrayed by, Middle Eastern actors. That's, I think, a fair casting thing that you could level against the movie. But, like, structure-wise, like, from knowing how much is in the books, like, there's stuff that they left out, but quite honestly, you'd have to, because it's too much, Now,
I haven't read the book, but for me, just watching it, like, it seemed like it's not a perfect movie, but it might be a perfect adaptation if you were going to do an adaptation.
Yes, that's like the best adaptation Oscars would be like it has to be.
That's not to say, oh, it's the best movie ever, but if you take that book, and as I said at the start, there's 6 million possible futures, you chose the one where, like, we're going to do the most justice to try and get this out to the most people and get it watched by the most people and enjoyed by the most people, not just the people who just read the book.
Yeah, and I really do think it achieved that. I'm really interested into, like, how you feel about it as a non-book person. like,
I like this movie more than I've liked every Star Wars property since probably The Force Awakens.
Fair.
And I think The Force Awakens had that, like, I already kind of liked Star Wars before that, and so then it had been a few years that came out, and it was actually really good. And I was like, okay, I'm all in.
Yeah.
But I mean, the more I was watching this, the more, and this is going to piss off a lot of people, I was like, Star Wars should be ashamed of themselves that they couldn't do this.
You watched The Last Jedi and then watched this.
Like, the fact that, like, you had that built in, your Star Wars, like, this is coming out of, this might have had the book, it came first, and this is what Star Wars is based off, but culturally, Star Wars has a lot more money in the bank, and they're just fucking, like, shitting the bed like, for the last little while, like, just like coasting. And this girl comes along and is just like, no, we're gonna fucking go all in, we're gonna do this right, this is pure sci-fi. And I was just like, Star Wars, you know you could do this as well, like, you don't have to coast of just being Star Wars.
Yeah, because this is like, and I think a lot of that is that it's a very even just the first book alone, it's a fully fleshed out, lived in world. Whereas, like, with Star Wars, it started with the movies, and then they fleshed it in a bunch of, like, you know, orbiting media that, you know, casual movie watchers wouldn't enjoy or wouldn't necessarily pick up, say. But this, you have, like, everything's there in the few pages, and then you pick and choose from that. And so the people who have read it are like, that's something I recognise very clearly. I like it. And
my laptop is on battery saver mode.
We'll wrap this up quickly then. Oh, he's plugging in and out.
I'll get the charger.
That's fair. God, we need some kind of Butlerian jihad. That's a Dune reference to when they killed all the computers.
Hang on.
Oh, God, look, lads, you can't see the video, but I've never seen a man more panicked in my life.
Okay, I saved it.
Excellent. God, it's fucking, I couldn't have done that. It wouldn't have had the same energy, you know? But I was saying, you have, like, you can pick and choose for all the book readers. Oh, that's really cool, I recognise that makes me happy. But then for all the people who just watch the films, it's like, oh, here's something that, like, is mentioned. I can dig deeper on that if I want, but I don't need to know it to enjoy this film.
Yeah, I mean, and look, I think we haven't touched on it. Well, I think we probably have, but in terms of casting, I think Chalamet's fucking excellent in this. I think everybody's excellent, to be honest with you. I don't think there's any weak links. I think it's directed perfectly. I think the cast is outrageous. Here's the thing, I don't want to go too far into the deep end and be like, this is the new sci-fi of our generation, this is amazing.
No, and I don't think it has to be. Well, first of all, it was the sci-fi of the last generation first.
That's true. But I just think we can look at this and go, you know what? This is kind of the Star Wars movie I wanted, but like in the last few years. But this is really fun, and I'd like to live in this world a little more, and I want to see more about it, and I think it's really interesting. And I didn't think I'd say that coming in. I thought I'd be very bored, being like, this is a bit by the numbers, what can you do? Like, oh, this is ripping off this. But I was just like, throughout the whole thing, I was just so interested in finding out more. And I think that's the biggest compliment I can give it, that it finished. I was like, I want to know more. Like, what's going on? What happens? Fuck, are they going to survive? Is that not going to survive? Oh my God.
That's the thing. And like, I was really terrified that you were going to hate this movie and this would be a very different review. But like, I just think I don't find watching it, there's nothing in it that ruins my experience, if that makes sense. Like, every element
if you could approach it and like it as someone who's read all the books, or 5 of them anyway, and I could approach it and like it as someone who doesn't even really like Star Wars. I think Star Wars is pretty good, but like, you like Star Wars a lot more than I do. Like, you're more of a diehard, and I like some of the movies, and I'm like, but it's fine. But I could come into this and I'd be like, I thought this was outrageously good for what it is. I mean, like, for what it's attempting, I just think it nails it. I just think sometimes you don't have to look at a movie and go, in terms of, is that the best movie ever? Just like, did it nail what it's trying to do? To me, it fucking nailed it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, I feel I could show this movie to like my parents, and like they would have a good time with it as well. I think it has that universal appeal, and you can go deeper if you want to.
But then again, I also think that people probably won't like it because they're like, oh, there's too much talk, and that's fine too. Just personally for me, I was like, I'm really interested in that shit. I'm like, yeah, give me more.
Yeah, you like a fleshed out world, I think.
I like fighting in between, but not fighting. Like, just like people saying things, but they really mean other things.
Just political shithousery.
Yeah, like political shithousery depends on the put it. Shaun, I think we probably should bring this review to an end. We could probably talk about this for another 3 hours. But
yeah, I have it in me, but yeah, I think we should go back to our respective families probably.
Eventually. Let's watch this movie again. I've seen it twice.
Go see Dune right now.
How many times have you seen it? Once?
Just the once.
That's good memory. I've seen it twice. I had to see it the second time to take down notes, because the first time you don't want to be taking notes. You look like a maniac.
No.
But yeah, do you want to take us out, Shaun?
Yeah, thanks everyone for listening to this bumper episode of Movie Mondays, this special review. We tend to go a bit longer on the reviews just to give a bit of a chat. And
this one is like, I mean, there's so much stuff. It's dense.
This is a meaty review, so I hope you enjoyed it. Let us know what you thought of Dune, and many ways you can do that. Twitter at Heroes for Hire Pod, the 4 is the number 4. Facebook is Detective Divilment's discussion group, or Heroes for Hire Podcast. Instagram is Heroes for Hire Podcast as well, or just email us heroesforhire_@outlook.com. You can also message us on Patreon. Now, we do have a Patreon where we do other movie reviews like this. We recently did Blade. It was a bit of a Halloween special. Often compared to Dune, actually, Blade. I've heard some reviewers describe it as that. And
it's the Blade of the Underworld, they called it.
That's it.
No, wait,
that's
the Dune of the Underworld. Never mind.
No, the Blade of the Underworld. That's what they call Dune.
Yeah, that's true.
And so, special shout outs as well go to the new unofficial Wizard of Christchurch, Aotearoa, New Zealand, Waffles the Magic, Ciara Lawler, David Clarke, Ed Ball, Joe Burney, Róisín, Schrödóisìn, Hally, Ryan Right Time, Evanson, Shaun, Heroes Don't Do That, Jamieson, Dominic, Jessiah, Florida Gal Green, Anna, Team Irish Walrus, Hjelmroos, Lil Dicky, one of the braver counsellors, after a day of being creeped out, asked the boys their names, McGrew, Danny McLaughlin, Ray, I can't believe Wanda did this, and Sammy DeLucia.
You're missing one more, Shaun.
Missing one more? Because
we had Michelle, It's My Birthday Brown, who was also sent in and has become our Patreon today, about 2 hours ago.
Oh, Michelle, I updated the doc around noon. I'm so sorry, Michelle.
Noon. You're not keeping up with all the new patrons.
Consider yourself added to the list.
So Michelle's husband actually enrolled her. And, and so she's called Michelle, It's My Birthday Brown. So I'm assuming either it's her birthday today, or they say that they listen to Weird News Wednesday. So it might be on Wednesday. I'm not quite sure. Happy birthday for both days.
Happy birthday for both days, and indeed all days. Every day should be your birthday.
Every day.
I eat so much cake, lads. But thank you everyone for the continued support and the new support. I feel really bad about missing out on you, Michelle, but
I tricked
we got you in there. You tricked me. I've been had, ladies and gentlemen. But listen, if you want to get a shout out, if you want to join those fine people, head on over to the Patreon. We do movie reviews and TV show reviews and a whole bunch of stuff over there. But the best way you can ever help out the show is to tell one human being that we exist.
Just the one, please.
And I think that's about it, Connor.
So I have been Ciara Lawler.
I have been Shaun Meehan.
And we shall see you all next week, guys.
Bye.
Bye.